Mi gente, Tito, Gavaz Podcast here with my first interview ever. Iman, what up, bro?
What's good, bro?
Listen,
Nervous.
Yeah, man, this is nerve wracking. This is my first one, and definitely breaking the ice. This guy right here motivated me to get into my business. He doesn't have the same business. We'll get into that later, but he motivated me with his story, helping me how you say, feel more confident about going into it and knowing that L's are expected, and when you get to the W, it's gonna feel good. And right now, I'm at the W, and hopefully this is the next one. And I wanted to bring him on, bro, just to spit game to you guys, and hopefully you understand his journey and pick some gems the way I did with him. He gave me gems and I ran with it. Bro, what up, bro? How you been?
Good, bro. Chilling. As you know, I actually sold my business. Well, one of them, the stores. 2 years. September will be 2 years.
Yo, he sold his business, bro. Like, and it's crazy. We're gonna get into it. So, boom, he went straight into it. Okay, I want to know about your family, man. So, what got you motivated into getting a business? Like, was that your first passion? Was your dad an entrepreneur? Was your mom, like, what made you get straight into it and say, like, let's do it?
What made me get straight into it was probably the opposite of everybody else, because everybody else wants to get into it to, be an entrepreneur, to be self-employed, financial freedom, whatever you want to call it, right? I didn't growing up because I came from that. So when I say like entrepreneur, like my dad had his own business, okay, right? We didn't grow up wealthy, typical immigrant, Middle Eastern. He had a store, but my relationship with him was a little bit in the early morning and a little bit at night before bed. So I never really saw him. So the things you're doing, for example, with CJ, with baseball and all that, like I didn't have that. So for me, the one thing I didn't want to do with my life was own a business.
Really?
Wow. That's what I did not want to do, especially like a store, because I was like, I'm not gonna have a life. I'm gonna become like my dad, right?
Okay.
But so when I say my journey was opposite of everyone, it was because I ended up opening my first store because I didn't have shit going for me, and that's just the truth, literally. Like my whole like adult life, kind of early years, 18 and on, was just the next party, drinking, so on and so forth. I wasn't.
So, but what you wanted to be when you were, because me, I said in my first one, I want to be a cop. So when you were younger, what did you want to be? What inspired you?
A doctor, like every
you wanted to be a doctor.
I wanted to be one, but it's almost like growing up in a Middle Eastern household. If anybody is Middle Eastern, whatever, there's going to listen to this, to watch this, you already know it's like you're either like a doctor or engineer. Anything else, then you're just like a failure. So, and I wanted to be a doctor in my mind, but how are you going to be a doctor with like a 1.3 GPA, right?
Okay.
I barely graduated. I wasn't supposed to graduate high school. Shit, I wasn't even making it through college.
Ladies and gentlemen, you hear that? Like somebody that sold his business. We're gonna get more into it. That sold his business and started. Can I say from nothing, or were you middle class, lower class, high class? Like how did
I don't know. I don't really know. We weren't wealthy. I don't know what's considered like middle class. I mean, we had food to eat. I had food. Yeah, like we weren't homeless, but we did get evicted a couple of times. So
you see that? So he started from the bottom and look where he's at now. And the bottom is not necessarily taking shots at the mom and dad. It's no. It's the circumstances. They did what they had to do at that point to get us where we at now. So they sacrificed for where we at now. So for sure. So was anybody in your family a doctor? No. That you know? So you just like, nah, I'm gonna just shoot for it because most people in your culture go for that.
Yeah, I was yes and no. I was more like, you're gonna be a doctor is actually the kind of the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what jobs did you have growing up that, like, say, what jobs intrigued you? Like, say you didn't want to be entrepreneur, right? So you starting at the teenage year. I started working at 14, you guys know. Mm-hmm. So what age you started working, and what jobs you had, and what jobs intrigued you?
Started working like shit. We moved to this country when I was about 10. I started working probably around like 12 with my dad at his stores.
Okay.
Right? Like just bitch work, like stocking shelves, stocking coolers, he had stores like typical Middle Eastern convenience stores. So
Okay.
stocking coolers. Then he went on to open a check cashing business. So I helped him with that, right? But then at like 15, he kind of wanted me to do my own thing, start paying for things. So I had to start looking for a job. And the only place that was hiring people my age at that time was Walgreens. So my first job was at Walgreens
Oh wow. Okay.
for 10 days. And then I got fired.
Interesting. I mean, can you disclose why you got fired?
I got in a fight with a customer
Oh wow. Okay.
physically. So yeah, that was that. And every job after that, I got fired. I never held a job.
So you never held a job. So was that one of the main reasons, like what you said in the beginning, you had nothing going for you, so you just shot for what you did, which was, so what business did you get into, and when you got into the business, did you know like about it? Did you have a business partner? And was that your drive? Like you said, you just did it because you ain't have nothing going for you, but did it drive you still, regardless? Like, nah, like, or are you just like, oh, like, whatever? Like, did it drive you to start that business?
No, it definitely drove me because, well, one of the jobs that I did have and was actually able to keep the longest, I was working at GNC, like just
Okay.
a regular salesman, which I really loved because at that time I was working out heavy. I was into the fitness industry. I was trying to get into the competing and all that. And my knowledge was actually really high in the supplement world because that was something I was genuinely like, I loved, I was passionate about. So I was always learning and reading about it, studying things and studying on myself and things like that. Then basically what ended up happening was one day I saw my dad in the living room and he called me aside. He was like, look, I'm gonna be straight up with you. And this was like, I was probably 20, I was with Giselle, so I was like 23 years old.
Okay.
A little bit later
That's
on.
the wife you mentioned.
Yeah.
Shout out to the wife, Giselle.
And I was with my dad one day in the living room, and he was like, yo, real talk, like straight up, like his exact words were, you're an embarrassment to this family.
Oh wow.
Yeah, shit, my bad. I had nothing going for me. Literally, it was just when Thursday would come, when could we go to the High Park Cafe?
Was that your wake up call, or was that something that was like, okay,
it was big,
Ooh, okay.
big time. Because before that, it was like, you got to do this. You want to be successful. You know, like parent stuff, right? But what parents turn around and come say like, straight up, like, yo, you're an embarrassment. That one hit me. And
That's
still
G
to
shit,
this day.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what shaped my whole life, my whole entire career were just those words. Because I went back and I was like dumb quiet. And I went back in our apartment and she looked at me. She was like, wow. I was like, yo, I just got called a fucking embarrassment. Like that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? So kept working and I loved the whole GNC thing. And long story short, like I worked up manager, whatever. Still, I wasn't getting paid shit. But I was like, yo, I could do this better than them because I have to live by their rules, right? I have to sell certain products, the whole, GNC thing, right?
Yep.
And I was like, I could do this better than them. Long story short, that's where the development started coming. I started talking to my brother who also was working at GNC. And I was like, yo,
okay,
why don't we do this ourselves, right? Obviously, I know the money part, which is a big factor. We didn't have barely anything saved up. We had some money saved up. I had like 2 motorcycles and a car. I sold my motorcycles, took that money. We still ended up having to get funding from like a family friend, which I ended up having because I didn't have good credit. I didn't have nothing. So I couldn't go to a bank. My parents didn't have money to give me money, and they wouldn't anyways. So a family friend lent me some money and was like, but I need it back fast with interest. And I was like, oh shit. But I was like, okay, I ain't got nothing else going for me. So I did it. And that's how it started.
Dang, you went for it without SBA loan. That's a huge thing. So a lot of people think, yo, so why you didn't get an SBA loan? It's not easy, right or wrong. So it depends. I mean, because a lot of people start off and like, oh, I'm gonna start my business and I'm gonna get an SBA loan and I'm gonna. It's not with credit or without credit. It's hard as shit to get the loan. Correct? Mm-hmm. Did you try? Did you attempt to go to banks? Because you already knew. You're like, no, it's...
No, because my credit cards were already maxed out at that time. All I did was just get paid, spend that money, overdraft, and drink a lot. That's...
Okay. Now, when did you leave GNC? When did you take the leap and said, boom, we got the cash, we got the money, let's go for it? When did you do that? Like right when you got the money, when did you get the location? How was it getting location? How was getting all, like, was it hard?
I did everything first because I wanted to again, because I didn't have nothing going for me, right? Obviously,
Okay.
my family friends knew about this, so I can't go be like, yo, I got this idea. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let me get this money. Because then, also, first of all, the answer would have been no, and then second of
Yeah.
all, if it was a yes, it would have been, well, how much? Well, shit, I don't know. I don't know what it takes. So when I say this started the process, like it was another solid almost 2 years. So this started when I was about probably 21, 22, and then the business started at 23. So yeah. So I got everything together, started getting, ideas how I was gonna do it, found a location or whatever, started talking to wholesalers. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe I could open this with like, I don't know, maybe let's say $20,000, $30,000.
Okay.
Shit, I didn't know the way I wanted to do. I wanted to make it like a GNC, but nicer, store filled, the whole nine. I ended up finding a store that was a decent size right here in West Chase. And all mistakes, right? Because then I had to fill it up. So I started calling wholesalers. I'm like, hey, if I need to order all this, what does it come out to? And for the build out, I mean, we're talking like $100,000. I was like, oh,
Crazy.
shit.
Crazy.
Like, that's when I was like, okay. So that's one chance where I could have been like, nah, we're going to scrap it. But sat down with my brother, who was my business partner, to answer your other question.
Bang bang.
And we got all of our money together. Went to my dad's friend, who also owned a used car lot. And I was like, told him about it, how much money we need, how I was going to pay him back, the idea that I had. And I was also like, I can also help you like sell cars and shit too. I'll figure out a way to
shit.
sell your cars as well.
Okay.
If I need to drive them, sell them, do whatever, like you can add that to the interest, as part of the interest or whatever it is. So we worked out a deal. I mean, I'm not going to lie. My dad did have to like kind of like low key beg him and shit as well. So I'm not going to say we had it easier than people. Cause I mean, where there's a will, there's a way. If you can't get it at a bank, there's another way you can get it, right? Legally. But we ended up doing that and yeah, just did everything wrong. Because at first my main concern was like, okay, I need to pay him back. So we opened a business that's not making a lot of money. I got X amount to pay in rent, which at that time, $3,500. $3,500
Wow.
12 years ago was a lot.
Did you know a lot of people in the space? Did you know bodybuilders? Did you know like because okay, you know the space. You worked at GNC, but what I'm learning little by little is you also got to know people within the community. Because if you don't know people within the community, you could start another GNC, but it may not go nowhere. I mean, hopefully it does, but most of the time it doesn't. So did you know people in the space already that you were like, yo, let's go?
Yeah, I did because we were in the competing world.
So you competed.
I was
Okay.
like getting into it. So I started and I was already coaching at the time. So I had clients and I had built a really good clientele at GNC. So that's when I
Nice.
went back with them and did one of those like, yo, I'm gonna do my own thing. Like start coming over there, this, that, and the third.
So you were a personal trainer, right?
Personal trainer, yeah, like coach, like diet and stuff like that. I didn't have time to coach
Okay.
in the gym.
And then so you were in the realm already. So you were comfortable enough that you knew the products, you knew the dietary situation, and you knew how to work out because you worked out yourself. And so that's what built up your confidence a little more. You just needed the money and stuff like that. Now, in the beginning, were there downs?
It was pretty much all downs, yeah.
All downs? And when did you see the light? Because and this is important because a lot of people think in the first year, they're like, oh, this is gonna be easy. I got friends, I got family. They're gonna come every day. And I said it in my episode. Check my first episode. Oh, I got friends, I got family. They're gonna support me. Grand opening is gonna be dope. Everything's. And then when you start your business, they're there for the first week. And this is not a knock on the family and friends, people, ladies. It's not a knock. It's just everybody got lives. And of course, they're gonna be there to support you here and there and go once in a blue and buy something. But it's not so. With the family and friend situation, like they were there in the beginning, you felt good, and then that's when probably it just faded off little by little, and then
No, they still like would come. Like I've always had great, friends and stuff like that and great support, but you overestimate a lot first going into business. Like, oh, if I could just do X amount, like I'll be fine. But you don't think about, okay, I got rent, I gotta pay for this, I gotta pay for that shit, I gotta eat.
yeah,
I got when I say rent, I mean like the store rent. Then I got my own rent. My partner, who's my brother, he's got his own thing, right? And then it's like, okay, so now we need X amount. Okay, well, you don't sit there at the beginning and think like, well, shit, what if like, the craziest thing, like, pretty like within the first year, right? Bad rainstorm, water came all through the store.
wow,
messed up the entire like wood floor, right? And I tried to go the nice route, so I put like actual wood and not like vinyl. Anyways, okay, you don't think like, oh, I gotta replace that. Well, where am I gonna get, $5,000, $7,000 or whatever, however much it costs, bro? Like I don't even got, And then on top of that, you don't really know, because like I didn't go to college. I don't have no accounting degrees or nothing, so I don't really know how to balance things, right? My thing is like, okay, well, shit, me and my girl need to eat tonight. We got to pay our rent, so I need to take this much from the register or whatever it is. He's got to take this much.
Wow.
We still got to pay, the store bills, but we got to do our thing. I got to keep my wife happy, so we got to do some things on the weekend. Like you don't know the budgeting, the spending and all that, like the planning.
Yeah.
Going into it initially.
How was the wife? Like, was she supportive? Were there arguments at the beginning? Were there like stressful points? Like, how was that situation going? Like, babe, I'm going, all in. How did that dynamic work out with the wife?
The money part of it, she didn't care because like I didn't have money when she met me, and we were young. So
okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I did tell her like, okay, from what I do know, when you first start a business, like we're about to not have shit. So, which is what happened. We had, for the first few years of our relationship in our apartment, we had borrowed furniture. We had a TV on the wall, but with no cable. We had nothing, right? So she was fine with that. The thing that hit hard at first was the exact reason that I didn't want to get into business was because I just didn't exist anymore.
And going into this, my next question, long days, long hours, did you have any days off? And even with the days off that if you even had, were focused on the business, correct?
I probably didn't have I might have had like 1 or so 2 days off here and there because I did have my brother, but we both, it was about like, okay, one of us isn't working, somebody has to be out marketing or doing something. So we still had to work demoing at gyms or even just going to work out again at the gym just to talk to people.
Now, let me ask you a question. So you guys were both all in. It wasn't like, yo, I'm gonna open up, I'm gonna get you a side job, and I got the nutritional store. You work, and then no, you guys were both all in.
Yes, but then it did get to that point where like, shit, we ain't got no money. So at first, it was me way more all in the sense that he was still in school, and okay. I didn't want to take that from him because I didn't finish school.
Okay.
And he was actually doing good in school, so
Great.
I was like, no, you need to finish that. So, yeah, it was like probably almost 3 to 5 years before I really had some time off.
Yeah.
Like where I got to celebrate a birthday or a holiday or something like that.
How many years?
3 to 5 maybe.
3 to 5. Now, in a business, coming straight to the chase, when it comes to when you start a business, how did the negative feedback impact you? Like the 1 stars, even if you didn't have, great, but how did that affect you? Like, because in my first year, I used to look at it and be like, why you giving me a 1 star? Like, did you have those, and how did you deal with that?
The first store, not as much, because I noticed you get, like, in the service industry, like food and stuff, you get a lot more when it comes to reviews. So once we opened the second store, we had smoothies and things like that. Then reviews and all that stuff started coming in, right? But the first one, it wasn't so much reviews, because this was also 14 years ago. So the whole like social media thing, I don't even know Yelp was around or any of that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Thank God. But like, I mean, you had like Google, if you Google the store, but it was more like when people would come in and be like, oh, okay, you don't have what I need. And like, that would make me butt hurt. Right. Mm-hmm. But then you start to learn, like, you can't please you're not going to please everyone. Now the reviews came. Yeah. Once we got into the second store with the smoothies, which you and I have had this talk, like, how do you deal with the reviews? And it goes back to exactly what I just said. You can do whatever you want forever. You're not going to please everyone, right? How many places have you gone to that you hate, but everyone else is like, I fucking love that place,
mm-hmm.
right? Everyone has an opinion.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And at the beginning, when we had the smoothies and stuff, I was the one like writing back to them too, like some of them like trying to be polite.
Facts, I'm telling you.
Yeah,
facts.
And then some of them like getting like, if they were like really rude or something like that, like getting really rude back or whatever. And then, bro, you just learn to grow. Like,
now, how did you know you had a W? He opened a second store. He sneaked that in. I got to get to that. So how did you know you were starting to like, I could breathe a little bit? When was that point? Because there's a point, like it could be a week or that day that you turn and you be like, babe, Like, okay.
The second store wasn't really a W. The second store was because I had to find a way out of the first one because it wasn't doing good.
Okay.
So I had to figure out a plan. I had two options. Like, that store wasn't surviving. Again, we didn't know how to budget properly. We didn't know the accounting. We didn't know all that. But once I started learning that, I was like, okay, here's what I do know I need as far as location is concerned. This is at the beginning of the whole e-commerce thing, right?
Okay.
So my whole thing at first was like, let's get a great location, which we did in West Chase, right? We thought like bomb ass location, looked up the median salary and all that. Great. We found out the hard way that's not the case anymore, right? Because everything was shifting towards e-commerce when it came on the supplement side. So I was like, no, we need to be within striking distance of a big gym like Crunch, right? So that's when I was looking like, okay, so I started looking at my lease, like, how am I going to get out of this? What am I going to do? Or how can I, which they weren't going to let me get out. So once I got the second location, right, I spoke to somebody higher up from Crunch, and they were like, well, you know what's funny? This is Crunch was at its beginning. I think they had one or two.
Okay.
And she was like, you know, there's another one that we're opening in Tampa Palms, and there's like nothing next door. And that day when my brother came in, I was like, yo, stay, I got to go check something. That I just drove literally Tampa Palms.
Wow,
I called him. I was like, yo, we got another location. We just got to figure out something with that one. And long story short, I was able to sublease this one, the West Chase one, for the remainder of the lease, so I don't have to pay it no more. And then they would just pay me a little something if they could. And then I opened what was the second one, and that one took off.
Wow. So you
instantly.
continue to take a loss in the first location, knowing that
For
okay,
almost for 3 years.
but knowing this is an L, right? This is an L, but I got to do what I got to do because I still have this dream. I know this still could work. And then boom, you managed to get the second location, which what happened there?
It was, and yes, you're right in the sense of like, I got to make this work, or I know how to make this work, whatever. But it was also going back to, I don't got another option. What am I going to go back to? I got to go apply something.
Backed up in a corner.
I got to go apply something. I don't got no college degree going for me. I'm not military. I don't have, I literally have shit going for me. And that was some of the arguments that me and my brother would have at first, right? When, for example, I thought he wasn't taking the business serious enough. I'm like, well, because you have things going for you. You have education that you're doing. I don't have shit going for me. Like, I fucked up essentially. So it was more so, I would say, fear.
And then fear, like I said, so how did the second location work? How did they, because you had a third location after that one, correct?
Yeah, we had.
So how did it work? How did it feel to finally taste or see the light? Like, yo, hold on. Like, yo, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. How did that feel finally to be like, yo, okay, I'm finally there? How did that feel? What day, what week? When did you know? Like, sometimes you know, like, yo, this is 3 weeks straight. I think or 6 months straight. I'm good. When did you know that clicked?
In this one, luckily, pretty early on, because we were literally connected to a gym, right? But I took what I learned from the other one. Like, okay,
Your failures.
we have to be literally, if somebody has to leave the gym and get in their car, they're not going to come. So I have to be within X amount of feet, walking distance of the gym. What if it's summer and it rains? I literally got to be right there, right? So that was one. Number two was, how do we bump up margins? Because you're only going to make so much of products, right?
Yeah.
We need food. We need smoothies, which I already knew at the first one. I tried to bring it in, but the landlord wasn't having it, and they wanted like a big piece of it. So that was another reason I actually did end up leaving that location.
Okay.
I had already knew at that time, like, we need food. We need smoothies. We need all of that, right? More to offer the customer.
Yeah, the margin is better.
Right, the margin's better, but you're offering more. You're giving them
Yeah.
a reason to walk in now, right?
Yeah.
So, because if they don't need supplements, they're not going to walk in. Whereas now, if they need a drink, a smoothie, whatever it is, they're going to walk in. Now you can throw the other stuff.
You see, he's talking to me because I go to the gym, if you notice, you know what I'm saying? And I get my smoothies right after. So, but carry on.
Yeah. So that one, we opened it, and it was the same thing. Whichever one of us was at the store. So we did this thing because we were next door to the gym.
Okay.
So I set up a deal with the gym, and I said, look, how can we, because they have certain programs and stuff they want you in, but I was like, how can we demo every morning and every night in the gym? And what we did was basically
Demo setting up a table or?
setting up a table, but it wasn't even so much a demo of the products. I wanted people to come in for the smoothies. So for the first 3 months, it was every morning and every night just giving away free smoothies.
Wow. So you took the L to finally get to the consistency you had in the second store, not the first. First was a failure. Second, and you see, I say it loosely. Like a lot of people scared to say, "Oh, I failed." Like, bro, I failed. So what? Say it to your friends, bro. You know, you failed, and now the second store did great. What made you open up the second store? You already know you're comfortable there. You're doing your thing. You know, you got Crunch right next to you. What made you be like, let's go for two?
You mean 3? The third one?
Or the third one? Yeah,
Yeah.
the first one. Yeah, the third one.
I mean, we had something good going, and
You wanted to keep it.
money. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, money was coming in good. We were able to save a lot because again, margins were higher, and we kind of were living the same way we did in the first store, just out of fear. So we started just stacking and stacking. But pretty early on, I was like, because I knew I didn't want to do that forever. Remember, I didn't want to get into this.
Yep.
And certain types of business, the truth is, no matter how you handle it, you're gonna have to give it full time. You can get into something like you could start like a company, like a tech company or whatever it might be, and yeah, you grow it and then you get somebody to come and run it, whatever. But I learned pretty early on in my business, similar to yours, where we've had the conversation.
Yeah.
The turnover is really high. We don't offer, you know, with all due respect, we don't offer career jobs,
Benefits and 401ks. I mean, it's impossible.
not even that, but like, you know, in reality, like how much can we pay, you know, somebody? So we get younger kids that come in or whatever it is, a year, 2 years, if you're lucky, 3 years, and then they're out,
There you go.
right?
Yeah.
So the turnover is really high. So the best way is to try and find another you, which is damn near impossible. But in order to do that, which was one of my goals, I was like, but then you're gonna have to pay them like big money, right?
Manager status.
Which we couldn't.
Yeah.
So it was just me and my brother for the first, including the first business, for the first 5 years. I didn't have an employee because we were 2 people, so we were able to work. But it was every weekend, every holiday,
And it wasn't labor intense. It wasn't like you flipping burgers or so. It was manageable between you guys.
Yeah, it wasn't labor intense. It was just that, like I said, you know, the biggest issue at first with my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, was I just didn't exist. So that one did hit hard at first. Those were the first like little bickering things. And I think you and I had this talk as well. Like, look, there's gonna be a point where
He warned me. He definitely warned me about that. You know, that was one point that he made. Like, you're gonna be stuck in that situation with the business. So that's one thing he definitely warned me about.
yeah. So that was the first, you know, I guess big thing, right? Mm-hmm. But to go back to your point, was the business was growing, and I had built a good relationship with the higher ups at Crunch. So I was like, look, I'm in the bodybuilding industry. You're trying to get as much customers, much new members at your gym as you can, right? I'm already at these shows. I'll bring you the customers. I'll bring you my clients to sign up, which they'll bring their friends and other people. They'll sign up. In return, all I ask is you just tell me where your next few locations are, because the only thing I knew was the owners of these Crunches already had in the books that they were going to open like 20 something more.
Oh,
so
wow,
I was
okay.
like, if I got first dibs on their locations, I could be right next door.
Damn.
Which we ended up turning that into a big contract, which that was part of the contract that I sold when I sold my businesses, was the NDA that I had with Crunch telling us where they're going to be. So we had first dibs to open next to them, right? So my biggest thing was to try and partner with Crunch any way I could. Right?
Okay.
I actually wanted my third store to be the Hillsborough location in the Crunch,
Oh, wow.
because that's their biggest one. So when we first started finding out about it, you know, one of the CFO, I think, was visiting the location by my store, and he came in. He was like, "Yeah, I know you guys are good with this. FYI, our next location is Hillsborough, and it's going to be our biggest one, and we want to do something different, and possibly open up a supplement store inside." And I said, "I'm your guy." Which ultimately, they own these gyms, but they're franchisees. The corporation didn't allow it because all the other Crunches around the United States don't have it. So that didn't work out. So then we had to pivot, and that's where I found the South Tampa location in front of that Crunch that was opening up.
Nice. And then that one did well as well, correct?
That one was a little bit tougher because that one actually used to be a other nutrition store,
Oh, so they had a
NutriShop.
okay.
Excuse me, Total Nutrition.
Total Nutrition.
Yeah.
And they had a reputation already, a bad reputation?
So Total Nutrition was already an established like franchise. They were in Soho in the Hyde Park area, or the Soho area, South Tampa. They wanted to move, and they wanted to add smoothies. They came to me and were like, "Look," because I knew a guy who worked in that one. He came to me and was like, "Look, man, my owners want to move it to the new Crunch is opening on South Tampa. do you mind, since we're going to be so far from each other, if they ask you how you do your smoothies, because your smoothies already took off? And I said, yeah, no problem. They came in, I showed them how we do our smoothies and everything. They didn't use that method. They went a different route, and immediately I started hearing about how much their smoothies suck, the prices, this, that, and the third. So I had my eye on that location for about 2 years because I knew it wasn't gonna. They weren't gonna make it.
That's dope. And now, to the fine. So you sold them. What made you sell the business? Was it a loss? Did you lose your drive within the business? Was it something? Did you already had that planned out? Or like, yo, once I get to this status, I'm out? Or did it just come up and be like, wait a minute, I got to think about this? Like, what made you do the next step?
I always knew I was going to grow it to X amount of stores and try and sell them off. This is not what I really want to do. My thing was, once I started getting a little bit of money, I was like, okay, this is not the way to like financial freedom. Yeah, you can make a lot of money, but you're married to your stores, right? And I didn't want that, right? He knows every time you came in, it was either me or my brother there, right? So it was my goal was to open as many. He's talking
to Armando, videographer.
Oh, yeah,
shout out.
Yeah, my bad.
Holy, phone's going off. The doorbell ringing. Chipotle here. Armando, what up? So go ahead.
So now I lost my train of thought. What I was saying.
No, so you sold the business. What made you do it?
So I always knew I was going to do that, right? My initial goal that I told my brother was like, look, we're going to grow it. I want to make a name, everything, and sell it to the big guys like a GNC or a Vitamin Shop or something. I want them to come buy us out. What ended up happening was, remember I told you this was at the height of e-commerce?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Well, they started going down.
Ooh, okay.
So I started seeing like, shit, okay, they're actually closing locations. They're not going to buy us out. Now, if I grow to like 10 or whatever stores, which we had it in the books to do with the Crunch people, right? Sure. We had a lot of really good customers that wanted to be silent investors. Like at this point, like I had the money, I had everything, but I was like, or the money lined up if somebody wanted to. But I just was like, damn, who's really going to come? What regular person like you and I is going to come in and buy 10 stores at like, I don't know, millions of dollars, right? It's not really going to happen, the likelihood of it. Yeah. And you just start like, okay, you're literally just married to your stores. So that's when I started getting the idea in my head. Right?
This was before COVID or after COVID? That's another thing.
Before. That's what I'm going to get to that. So that was before. And then we started getting some money. Then we started investing. You know, bought our first like rental property or our first like fix and flip, whatever it might be. We started, nice. My side was more the real estate investment side. My brother was more on our stocks. Started doing like stocks and stuff. And I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. Because I could work hard, but if I need to do something with my girl or I, you know, or whatever it might be.
You got the time for it.
I could build that, right? So that was the route. Then COVID happened.
Boom.
Where we didn't have to shut down because we had food. Like you, we were able to be, actually business was pretty good during COVID.
Yeah, it was more like a takeout field. You couldn't have tables and stuff, but you could still be open and serve the people.
Yeah, and actually like, unfortunately, like a lot of businesses suffered, they struggled, right? Yeah. But one, we had the food or the smoothies, so people still came. And y'all probably remember, but more people than ever were working out during COVID because there's nothing to do. So even the people that didn't work out,
that's true,
started to work out. So then instead of, because people were scared to go or they didn't know if the store was open, so then we started doing delivery. And it was just me and my brother. At this time, I got the PPP loan. I told my employees, like, look, I'll pay y'all, just stay home because I don't want to stay home. I'm not a home buyer. I need to work. So we actually did fine. But then I started seeing companies doing like hybrid, and now you start seeing like companies and business and all that talking about mental health, stuff that like we don't see. We didn't see in the United States before. You see in other countries, right? Because in other countries, people, you know, work to live. And in this country, we live to work. That's it, right? So then you started seeing that. So then I'm like, shit, bro. Like, first of all, maybe money isn't everything. Because what's so special about having a good amount of money if, like, you can't really do nothing with it?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, you could buy things, but that gets old quick or whatever. So that's when I started really planning, my brother. Like, look, let's develop a plan to sell the businesses. We'll get good money for it. We're not going to touch a fucking dollar of it. We're going to invest every dollar of it. We're going to put a good amount in some stocks long term, and we're going to buy some real estate and chill. That's it. which is exactly what we did.
So you end up selling it to somebody, a franchise, or just regular people? Like, how did that go? Like, how did you get those?
Regular people that owned franchise GNCs.
Ooh, okay,
That I knew them through the whole industry. So I reached out to them because we went through a business broker
okay.
thinking that's how you sell a business. So I learned that the hard way. That's
Didn't
not,
work out?
No. So then I was like, fuck, who's going to come and buy a business? Now, keep in mind, too, this started right before COVID. So the first time we were about to sell it to the same people, they actually backed out because then COVID happened. They're like,
Oh, wow. So you were like,
shut down.
damn.
That broke me. But because then again, COVID happened. So you don't know what's happening. I'm like, bro, we're going to stay home. I started freaking out. Anxiety was through the roof. So, but once we were able to stay open and I saw business continuously coming, I'm like, oh shit, we're actually doing even better. So now we almost have like, I don't want to say like a fail-proof concept, but when you're in the midst of COVID and you're seeing what's going on and you're still generating business and income, you're like, okay, shit, we're almost like fail-proof. So I was like, yo, let's log everything. I told my brother, we logged everything. I go back to those people. I'm like, look, while everyone else is struggling,
Boom.
look what we did.
Hold that.
And they're back in the game. Took, more time, again, with lawyers. It took about a year after that to like really sell the business. But they owned franchise GNCs. They had good money. It was two people. I went to them and was like, look, y'all doing it this way. You own a GNC, but you don't. You're technically owned by GNC because you have to follow their rules. Why not do it on your own and be able to grow it even more?
Yeah. Okay.
And they kind of like bought into that. So we sold the business, but what we did was we sold the business and everything, but because we started the name, we built a really good marketing thing, like the Instagram, the coaching business.
Yeah,
which
I see it.
bringing
I see it. That's
the
for
coaching
sure.
business was bringing a lot of revenue.
And they're carrying the torch. They're carrying the torch. I see them posting and stuff like that. So they definitely trying to carry the torch.
Yeah, but we kept the rights to the name,
Ooh.
so we get a royalty every month.
Oh, okay. You learning something. Yo, that's a gem. Say that to the camera one more time. What happened? About the name.
Yeah.
So what did you do?
So we kept the rights to the name since we created the name. We created the name, whatever you want to call it. I was able to work that in because at first we went in with a much higher price that we were able to prove based on sales.
Okay.
So we would have made a lot of good money from this store. But I was like, you know what? We can actually lower that a little bit if they agree. We keep the rights to the name. Now, every time a store gets open, we get money. So I'm still doing kind of what I wanted to do. I just don't got to be there.
Wow. And I was actually gonna say, do you miss? No, you still kind of involved. You're still getting something out of it. So, yo, congrats on that. That's freaking dope, and that's a gem. Like, that's a freaking gem. What are you doing now after you sold it? I mean, you kind of said what you wanted to get into. How is that going for you now?
That's going good. So we started, we put a good amount of money away just in case, but then we invested all of it.
Okay.
And that was initially what I wanted to do, right? But obviously we didn't plan for COVID. We didn't plan for what happened to
inflation, everything.
The real estate market, how much the prices went up then.
Insane.
Then when the price is capped, then now interest rates are going up and all that. So we invested the money and stuff, which we're still doing. But I started noticing, like, I went from working all day, all night. Like, my pace went like this.
Okay.
And I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm about less than a year after we sold the businesses, like, that shit hit me hard.
Oh, wow.
I was like, yo, I actually got too much time.
So you ended up going to the gym. You looking for property. You're like,
yeah, but I was, like, probably mentally in the worst place I ever was, which is crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, so, and that's another thing. Money's not everything. So you sold your business. You have royalties. You got the money in the bank, and you hit a low. Yo, that's huge. You hear that? Like, you hit a low and you got money.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me.
But that's how I learned the hard way that changed my whole perception. Because my whole thing growing up, and I mean, obviously you still want that financial freedom.
Yeah.
I still want to be wealthy, whatever. But I had this theory in my head. I was like, I want to be fucking like filthy rich.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter because I could have stayed home doing nothing, and just what I made off the stores, it wasn't what I was making. Like, I mean, I'll be transparent. Between me and my brother, we would split the money, and we were still making like anywhere from like $4,000 to $5,000 a month each from the businesses. So all of our bills and stuff were paid. right? Yeah, we couldn't live the most lucrative life or whatever we were living before, but I could have stayed in bed all day and all night, and all my shit would have been paid. But yet I was the unhappiest I had been probably ever.
Damn, that's crazy to hear. And now, are you in a better place now? Are you moving?
Yeah,
Are you
so
making moves?
Yeah, so I found out, I realized pretty early on, like, yeah, this investment thing, like, you could do it and still have a lot of time. So I was like, I still want to work, but I
Okay.
didn't want to go back and like open another business because what I know is that business. I
Okay.
didn't want to do that again. I didn't want to be married to it anymore. So I was actually like, first thing I said after I sold the business was like, that's crazy. After you own your own business, you can never go work for somebody. Like you can never go work for somebody. You can never do corporate America. That's a fucking lie. I work in corporate America now, and I'm happier than I ever
And
been
you're
in
happy.
my life.
See now, and that's the thing. Like for me, it's like I grew up not wanting a boss, and I always say that now that I have the restaurant, I can't go back to it. He's an example that most likely, if I sell the business or I stop the business, you're probably gonna go back to a 9 to 5, which is not a bad thing. I keep saying that's why I want to interview people in the corporate world and the entrepreneurial world, and I just got 2 for 1 right now. You know, and so how is it treating you? Is it dope? Is it relaxed? You got your out.
Yeah, I love it. So when I say like now I'm back into the corporate America working for somebody, obviously like I had time to figure out what I wanted to do. I had time to talk to people, study jobs or whatever, realize what I want to do. So yeah, the job I have now, I work in IT sales.
Okay, cool.
The other thing I never wanted to do because I don't know shit about IT. I don't know shit about IT, but I thought you did to do the sales part because I knew IT sales or IT in general. That's big money.
The
right?
money's there.
Yeah,
The money's
but I
there.
thought you had to like, bro. I don't know how to function my fucking Instagram. Like I don't any of this stuff. Like so, I didn't know that, right? But then you start talking to people, you start meeting people, you start networking, things like that.
Yeah.
And then, I found out I was like, oh damn. And then especially like in these IT worlds, a lot of them are like, California, Silicon Valley based.
Yeah, man.
So they're all about that like
Big money.
Yeah, but they're all about like that mental health. They're all about
that's
like
huge. That's
yeah.
huge.
So
That's huge.
I work from home, virtual like sales.
Okay.
Right. And I'm basically still like a CEO because I have my own territory. I have a boss. I have a director, but he's like there if needed. But he's dope as hell. So we just talk just to shoot the shit.
You got best of both worlds from the corporate. You got royalties, and now you just working in the corporate world. And it's crazy. This is gonna change my. I thought what was gonna be the answer. It may change. What's your 5-year plan?
Continue to invest though. Like I'm not trying to be working in
Your whole
corporate. No, absolutely not. The way I work, the way my body, like my personality, the way my mind works, I have to stay busy. I have to. Like I tried that semi-retirement thing and I couldn't. Like I had my clients and all that stuff, but I went from when you own a business, it's not just owning a business. Like you're in charge of 10 million different things.
Everything.
So your mind works on 1,000 all day, all night. So to go from that to that, like it hit me hard. Like, dude, like hard. Like to the point where I'm like, I could be home chilling, but I have nothing to do. So I take my car or I'll take my wife's car. I started driving Lyft.
Yeah, just the
It
hustle.
don't even really make money, but I was like, I need to get out. I need to do something.
But that's also the hustler mindset. When you have it, you just have it. Like I was telling my wife the other day, I'm like, I had my day off. I think it was yesterday, and I was editing and sound like, and once I was done editing, I was like, yo, I can't be home. I'm probably gonna go to a restaurant and just work. She's like, babe, no, take the kid to practice because he's playing baseball now. So so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just do that because I cannot be home.
Now I'll tell you one thing. You have your business, so the best advice I can give is when you have that downtime, like use it.
Yeah,
With
man.
me is I had too much downtime.
Yeah.
And like I said already, bro, like when I tell you, like people would think like I sold my businesses, I had the money, like semi-retired, whatever you want to call it. At 30, I was 33 at the time. I'm 35 now. Like that would be considered goals for some people.
Goals, big goals.
I was at the lowest I've ever been.
Wow.
The
You see that?
absolute lowest.
So you guys learned unintentionally because I didn't know the last part about the entrepreneur side of him and now the corporate side of him. And that's man, that's dope, bro. Like I said, these interviews, I'm not gonna know everything, and this platform for me is for people to understand both worlds. It's dope that you got to know both of them in one interview, and hopefully you got gems out of this. You know, hopefully you got gems, because I got gems, and I'm going back to the drawing board. You know, certain things he said is just motivates me to keep going in my field. Now we done with the hardcore questions, life questions and stuff, and I have a little segment here. Let me pull my phone out. It's called Vibe Check segment. Okay, it's just a couple questions, just easy, and you want to
drink for this?
Huh?
I need a drink for
Yeah. Pour a drink, bro. Pour a drink. We need a drink. You know what I'm saying?
I heard Natalie was hitting up just
we got insight. Can you give me some right there? We got a little bit of insight. Okay. So I'm gonna hit them off slow. So no homo. Vibe check. So you already answered this, but solo or business partner? Would you go back, like if going back, solo or business partner?
business partner.
Okay.
The best thing, like, it's a trick question though, because normally I would say if you could do anything solo, do it. And the other thing I would say, don't ever get friends and family involved in business, which is the most hypocritical thing, because that's exactly what I did. But I wouldn't be here had it not been for my brother. But
shout out to the brother.
yeah, for real. But we went through our shit. Luckily, we both have that mindset where we don't hold grudges. But I've seen firsthand, including my own family, like my dad and all them, like, bro, some of them, or family friends, some of them don't ever talk again.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a big thing. Mm-hmm. I got really lucky, but there was times where, like,
you want to snap his neck? Oh
no! I mean, bro, we worked in the. This is when we still only had one store. We worked in the same store, didn't talk to each other for months,
and failing and stuff. So I get it. Okay, you answered this too, but if you want to expand, expand or stand pat. As a, you want to stay in one store or expand?
Expansion.
Expansion is always the way to go for you.
One of the guys that I follow on Instagram, his thing is expansion always in all ways.
He's throwing you. He's throwing you gems. Listen, salary or hourly? This is big. A salary or hourly? Which one would you pick?
I mean, doesn't that kind of end up being the same thing?
No, it's totally different. Totally. Salary, you stuck. You ain't getting no OT.
Oh yeah, you're right.
So
you're right. Yeah. Then I guess hourly.
Hourly?
Yeah.
Okay, Hooters wings or Wing House wings?
I watched your first podcast. You said Hooters, right?
Facts.
That's a fail.
Wow. So you Wing House?
I don't like either, but if I had to, yeah.
Wing House.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. Let me say one thing. Wings have been trash since COVID.
That's facts, though.
Because when there was that shortage and they got big and shit.
Yeah.
And you know who's going to agree? Because we used to get wings probably on the weekly. Mauricio?
Yeah, Mauricio, I'm going to text you, bro. Yo, listen. So if soccer and Love Island UK are on the same time, you can't, no DVR, no highlights after you watching it. No episodes after. What are you watching?
Where'd you get the Love Island from?
What are you watching? What are you watching, bro?
Soccer, bro. But who's playing?
Hold on. Nah.
And it depends how the previous episode left off. I'm not gonna lie. No, but I'm just playing soccer.
Yo. All right, you're gonna have to shoot, marry, kill. And it's gonna be Ella, Ikenzo, or Caddy. That's the name, Caddy?
Who?
Kady.
Katie. Who's the other one?
Katie, Ella, Ikenzo. Shoot, marry, kill.
Who's Ikenzo?
Giselle, you giving me wrong info.
Let me see.
No, you can't.
No, the name.
Ekinso.
Oh, Ekinsu.
The hell, let's go.
Wait, what's the question?
Shoot, marry, kill. Katie, Ella, Ikenzo.
All right.
Yo, he's
Kill Katie.
And what show is this, by the way? I just want to know.
Island.
Okay, go ahead.
Don't talk shit. No. Okay. First of all, everybody. Let me say so. Everybody.
Yo, he's going in
shit.
depth. He's going in depth.
I fuck with reality TV. I don't give a fuck.
No, but
I don't
ahead.
care. Everybody. I'll say it straight up. That's my shit.
So shoot, marry, kill. Go ahead.
Shoot Katie.
Yeah. Okay.
Kill Katie. Shoot. Ekinsu and I guess Mary Ella. I don't know.
Mariella?
I don't really
Okay.
like either of
You gotta eliminate one forever. I think I know your answer, but Giselle threw a curveball. Pickleball or soccer? She threw a curveball. I didn't know this, but
Why would she say no, bro? Okay, I play pickleball heavy now, but soccer's my life.
soccer's your life.
Yeah,
Okay.
bro.
Rank?
She's trying me.
Rank these TV shows without knowing what's next.
Love Island's number one. If you're gonna ask me, because I know it's
Okay.
coming.
Okay. Selling Sunset.
Nah, fuck that.
So it's 4 shows. So that's bottom?
What's the other ones?
No, I can't tell you. It's blindly, bro. I can't tell you. So Selling Sunset, 1 through 4. What you ranking?
4.
4. Cocaine Cowboys.
Oh. But that's not a
Ooh.
show. That's like a movie.
Hey, it doesn't matter. Cocaine Cowboys.
Damn, that was a good one. I gotta put that at the top.
1?
Yeah. Anything like any documentary stuff, that's my shit.
Okay. All or Nothing.
Oh, okay. Can I switch?
No, you can't switch, bro.
All right, that's
it.
number 2.
Number 2, and then Love Island UK.
3.
Wow. Okay. Listen, that was a dope segment. The first, this dude had me dying, bro. Listen, so since you know both worlds, what advice would you have for upcoming entrepreneur or anybody in the corporate world? What's your advice with both of those?
I mean, the biggest advice, I guess, that I just tell people is, like, not to sound corny or anything, but, like, just do it, because you probably hear this a lot. I mean, whether you own a business or you don't, we all hear this a lot, right? Like, people come like, oh, I want to open this business, or I got this idea that I'm going to sell this or do this to make this money, right? Almost everyone you know has said that at least at one point in their life. So my thing is, when people tell me, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, just come talk to me whenever you want to, like, actually do it. Because, and I don't mean that disrespectfully. I just mean everyone has an idea. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone has something to say. Oh, you want to start buying houses. I want to start doing real estate.
Hear that a lot, yeah.
Yeah, okay, do it. And then we'll talk.
Yeah. So, and to end this, man, like, I really appreciate. So I dealt with the toughest situation in my life this year. Is my mom passing, and the first person that called me, which was crazy. I haven't talked to this guy for months. This is my dude, but he's doing his thing. I'm doing my thing, and when we connect, we connect. The first call I got was from this guy right here. I'm always gonna appreciate that, bro. Like, you don't even understand the place you got in my heart on some G shit. This ain't no gay shit. You know what I'm saying? For doing
Canceled.
that, I'm canceled, right? For doing that for me. You and your wife, the wife contacted my wife, and you made sure, bro, that I was solid, and I appreciate that from you, and I didn't expect that, and it's just crazy, bro, and I thank you for that, and I want to cheers for your success and for your future endeavors, man.
Likewise.
Listen, Tito's Got Vibes podcast. This is the first episode. It's gonna be a little bit, nerve wracking, and for me, I'm nervous as shit. But we made it through, mi gente. Subscribe. Thank you.